Well, guys, it seems like it's going down there by the homestead of Jacob Zuma in Nkandla. His daughters are literally eating each other alive. And in the words of JJ Tabane, it is an absolute mess. So I want us to go through this article so that we can understand what is happening there by the homestead of Jacob Zuma. Breaking news. Zuma's daughter opens a criminal case against sister Duduzile and others over alleged trafficking of South Africans to Russia. Nkosazana Bonganini Zuma-Mncube, the daughter of former President Jacob Zuma, has filed a criminal case alleging that 17 South African men, including 8 of her own family members, were trafficked to fight in the Ukraine war. The case, opened at Sentin Police Station on November 22, 2025, names 3 individuals: Mrs. Duduzile Zuma, her own sister, Mrs. Nkosazana Zuma, and Mr. Blessings Khoza. Zuma-Mncube accuses them of playing key roles in what she describes as a tragedy where the men were lured to Russia under false pretenses and handed to a Russian mercenary group to fight in a war without their knowledge or consent. So what I don't understand is why didn't this daughter of Jacob Zuma include the name of Jacob Zuma? If this actually happened, why didn't she include the name of Jacob Zuma? Because I find it hard to believe that something like this would be orchestrated without the knowledge of Jacob Zuma. So if you're going to accuse the daughter of Jacob Zuma, especially Duduzile Zuma, of orchestrating something like this, why are you not including your own father? I don't think that Duduzile Zuma actually has the powers to do something like this without her father. I don't believe so. So the allegations point to a severe breach of South African laws. In her own statement, Zuma-Mncube asserts the trio contravened the Prevention and Combating of Trafficking Persons Act, the Regulation of Foreign Military Assistance Act, which strictly governs the participation of citizens in foreign conflicts and common law fraud. These revelations shed a startling new light on the precarious situation of the 17 citizens who are now reported seeking assistance from the South African government while trapped in an active war zone. The direct involvement of the members of the politically significant Zuma family adds a layer of the complexity and agency to the case. Zuma-Mncube has made a dual appeal, first to the government to expedite all diplomatic efforts for the immediate and safe return of the men, and the second to South African public, urging vigilance against offers of deceptively attractive opportunities abroad, especially those involving travel to conflict zones. And one thing that actually shocked me about this whole thing is that these 17 people includes 8 members of her own family members. What kind of a person, man, would actually traffic their own family members to an active war? Who would actually do something like that? It is heartless, man. It is heartless. I cannot imagine, man, trafficking my own family members to Ukraine to fight in a war. And how much was made in the kickbacks? If this thing actually happened, how much was made in the kickbacks? And who got that money? We need to follow the money at this point. Who was paid for these 17 people that were, quote unquote, trafficked to Russia? This is what actually we need to understand. The South African Police Service has confirmed the receipt of this case, which is now expected to trigger parallel diplomatic and criminal investigations.
Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla has once again run into trouble with the law. She, along with Nkosazana Zuma and Blessing Khoza, are under investigation after her older sister, Nkosazana Zuma-Mncube, filed an affidavit at the Sandton Police Station. Zuma-Mncube alleges the trio lured 17 South African men to Russia under false pretenses and handed them over to a Russian mercenary group to fight in the Ukraine conflict without their knowledge or consent. National Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate says an inquiry docket has been opened. All right, I'm now joined by legal analyst Ulrich Roux to assist us with this conversation. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time. Let's maybe just start off by finding out, are we finding ourselves in the middle of a sibling rivalry as a country presented as an international conflict? And why do these legal battles feel like a family feud on steroids?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. Yes.
I mean, at this point, Steve Harvey might as well come to solve this family feud because it is a mess.
Presented as an international conflict, and why do these legal battles feel like a family feud on steroids?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. Yes, unfortunately, it does feel as if that is the case at the moment, with the one sister laying criminal charges against the other. But one now needs to wait and see whether there's any merits to these charges and whether a proper investigation will uncover criminality on behalf of Duduzile. At the moment, the Hawks have confirmed that an inquiry docket has been opened. Now, what that entails is that the police conduct an inquiry into allegations that have been made. A formal criminal charge is not laid as yet, and will only be laid if the police indeed uncover in their investigations and their inquiries that on the face of it, there is a case to answer to. So she's alleging that her sister falsely recruited 17 men to Russia, and that those men are now stuck there and have been drafted to fight in the Russia-Ukraine war. The charges relate to the infringement of the Traffic Violations Act. So that act was promulgated in order to prevent the trafficking of humans, unlawful trafficking of humans across the world. And then also, of course, fraud. Fraud is defined as the intentional and unlawful misrepresentation by a person which causes the financial or potential financial prejudice of another person or entity. So in this instance, if she successfully wants to prove that her sister did indeed commit fraud, then she will need to prove that it was an unlawful and an intentional misrepresentation, and that misrepresentation in turn led to the victims of this alleged crime suffering severe financial prejudice. So, certainly a lot of investigations that will have to be conducted in order to try and substantiate those charges. And one I would needs to wait and see what the Hawks come up with in conducting their investigations, along with this inquiry docket that has been opened.
And guys, to be honest, I think I saw this story last week that allegedly there were 17 people that had been stuck in a Russia war. And these people were, they call them the MK members, but I didn't give too much attention to the story. I didn't give too much credence to the story. But now that this Jacob Zuma's daughter has came out to open a case against Duduzile Zuma and other people on the same story, I feel like the media man has the media has disserviced us, especially on the story. It feels like we no longer have the investigative journalist. I don't want to lie. That's how it feels like at this point.
You've touched on it a bit now, because the allegation is that they were sent there under the pretense of being protectors or training as bodyguards, potentially for the MKP. But given the allegations of trafficking and mercenary recruitment, how do South African laws such as the Prevention and Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act, as well as the Foreign Military Assistant Act?
And guys, with the relationship that Jacob Zuma, the president of the MK party, has with the Russian president Vladimir Putin, is it possible that something like this could actually happen? But this is the question that I'm asking you guys. Can Jacob Zuma actually do something like this? Or do you think that Jacob Zuma is actually capable of doing something like this? Because again, you think about this relationship that Jacob Zuma and Vladimir Putin has, it also raises a lot of questions, especially when we hear things like this.
A bit now, because the allegation is that they were sent there under the pretense of being protectors or training as bodyguards, potentially for the MKP. But given the allegations of trafficking and mercenary recruitment, how do South African laws such as the Prevention and Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act, as well as the Foreign Military Assistant Act, apply in this context?
Well, certainly, if the evidence does show that she at all times had an intention to traffic these individuals. So, in other words, it was never going to be military training being provided to them, and they were always going to be, drafted and used in the war between Russia and the Ukraine, then certainly there would be, on the face of it, a violation of that Prevention and Combating of Trafficking in Humans Act, as well as the Military Act. You cannot just, under false pretenses, send South African soldiers, in inverted commas, to Russia to go and fight in that war. The obvious deduction is that it's a political move and sort of a favor that is done by sacrificing some South African individuals to go and fight in that war. So the acts would certainly be applicable. If the relevant investigation do uncover that there was criminality and unlawful behavior on her part in this regard, and certainly it would be seen in a very serious light. One of the difficulties that I do foresee in the laying of this charge is that they're going to have to prove that these 17 individuals who are now, so to speak, stuck in limbo, were not aware at any given time of what the actual situation was, of what they had signed up for, and that they at no point in time knew that they would be drafted to go and fight in this war. So certainly an interesting legal point of view, and once again, there will only be criminality proven if a successful investigation is conducted by the Hawks. At this stage, they are merely conducting investigations in terms of an inquiry docket, and no formal charge has been laid as yet.
And guys, another question that I have is, what's going to happen if these people knew exactly what they were signing for? Let's say it is true. Duduzile Zuma and these people trafficked these people to Russia. And these people knew exactly what they were signing up for. What does the law say in a situation like that?
I mean, you speak about a potential political move. What do you think would be the potential legal risks and implications for the former president himself if his family members are found to be involved in such activities, especially considering his own political legacy?
Well, I think that, former President Zuma has made it clear that he's, not too perturbed by the South African laws and would rather find a way around them if it suits his narrative. But, I mean, it is pure speculation at this stage. I don't think anyone can say with certainty that there was a political motive behind this. But one would certainly think that it would cause damage to his reputation if his family members are involved in the unlawful trafficking of humans, South African citizens, to Russia. But, one can expect him to put up a defense of he was at no time, was he aware of this, and it mustn't be, implicated that he was involved, and accordingly people shouldn't, cause damage to his reputation. But at this stage, unfortunately, pure speculation whether there was indeed a political motive behind it.
Yeah. If we come back to the law, how effective is our legal framework as a country in addressing mercenary activities and foreign military assistance, especially in cases involving South Africans recruited abroad?
Well, certainly Parliament has promulgated 2 acts, which in this instance deal specifically with cases like this, the unlawful trafficking of humans, as well as the Military Act, which prevents the unlawful, provision of South African citizens to go and fight in a war in Russia. So it's certainly seen in a very serious light. It is not very prevalent, I can guarantee that. We do not see a lot of it. And a lot of crimes allegedly being committed pertaining to the infringement of these 2 acts. But, the penal code in these acts are very serious, and one could most definitely face jail time if you are convicted of crimes which she is alleged to have committed. So one expects the Hawks to treat it with the necessary urgency and to conduct a proper investigation into whether there has indeed been infringement of these 2 acts and ultimately fraud committed on behalf of Duduzile Zuma.
All right. Ulrich, thank you so much for your time. Like you said, it's only for us to see whether these accusations have any merit for a case to subsequent.
The thing is that I just don't trust the Hawks. I don't trust the NPAs. Like, I don't trust them, man. I don't trust them. And more especially with a complicated case like this. I don't trust them. I don't want to lie. That is the only sad thing. You know, it would be nice if we lived in a country where we would have the confidence when we are told that, okay, the NPA is handling this matter or the Hawks is handling this matter. But because of these people, I don't trust them. I don't trust them to actually get to the bottom of this case. But then hopefully something will actually come out from this story. Guys, what are your thoughts? Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabasa. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.